Hello, my friends. Welcome back to Bookish English 2. I'm Ariel, and today I want to tell you something simple but powerful. Many people say English is hard, but I want to show you that English can be easy. Talking in English can be fun, light, and natural. You don't have to be perfect. You just need to start small and keep going. So today, I will share a story with you. It's about how I learned to talk in English so easily. When I was young, I was afraid to speak. My mouth would freeze when I tried to say something in English. I wanted to speak, but no sound came out. I felt shy. I felt small. But one day, something changed. I realized I didn't have to speak perfectly. I just had to speak. One word, two words, then a full sentence. That's how it started. Slowly, my fear became my friend. I started to enjoy the sound of English words. I spoke even when I made mistakes. And that was the key. Speaking with joy, not fear. I remember the first time I spoke to my teacher in English. I said, "Good morning, Esley." She smiled and said, "Good morning, Ariel." That moment was small, but it made me feel big inside. I realized English was not a wall, it was a door. A door to new people, new stories, new worlds. From that day, I decided to open that door again and again. Every time I spoke, the door opened wider. At first, I made many mistakes. My words were broken. My sentences were not perfect. But I kept going. Every word I said made me stronger. I listened to English every day. I listened to songs, short stories, and simple talks. Listening helped me understand how people speak. I noticed their rhythm, their tone, their pauses. I tried to copy them. I repeated what they said. I spoke to myself in the mirror. I said, "Hello, Ariel, how are you?" And I answered, "I am fine, thank you." It felt funny, but it helped. I was teaching my mouth to move in English. I was training my tongue, my lips, my voice. Talking became easier day by day. One morning, I looked in the mirror and said, "I can talk in English." And I smiled because I really could. I started to speak English at school. I talked with my friends. I asked, "What is your name?" or "Where are you from?" And they answered. Sometimes we laughed because I said something funny or wrong, but that was okay. We learned together. Speaking English became a game. The more I played, the better I became. I spoke slowly at first. I didn't rush. I let my words come out like small steps. Step by step, my voice became strong. I remember walking to school, whispering English words to myself. I said, "Sky, blue sky, big tree, small bird." Everything I saw, I said it in English. That small habit changed everything. I was not studying English. I was living in it. The world around me became my classroom. The trees, the roads, the people, they all helped me talk in English. I started to think in English too. At first, it was hard. My brain wanted to translate. I would think in my language first, then in English. But I told myself, no translation, just feel the words. So I began to think small things in English, like, "I'm hungry," or "I'm happy," or "It's a sunny day." The more I did this, the more natural it felt. Thinking in English made speaking so easy. I didn't have to search for words anymore. They just came. I remember sitting by the window one evening. The sun was going down. The world looked quiet. I said to myself softly, "Today was a good day," and I realized something. English was no longer strange. It was my friend. That moment made me smile. I was no longer scared to talk. I started to enjoy English like a song. Each word had its own music. I liked the sound of beautiful, the calm of peace, and the rhythm of together. I spoke these words again and again until they felt like mine. I learned to talk by listening, repeating, and feeling. I didn't study long grammar rules. I didn't try to remember everything. I just talked. Simple words, small steps, big heart. That's how I did it. I remember my first English talk with a foreigner. My hands were shaking. My heart was beating fast. But I smiled and said, "Hi, how are you?" The person smiled back and said, "I'm good. How about you?" That small talk made me so happy. It showed me that I could really connect with people through English. It was not about perfect words. It was about connection. English helped me meet people from other countries. We talked, we laughed, we shared stories. I learned about their lives, they learned about mine. And every time I spoke, I learned a little more about myself. Talking in English made me more confident, more open, and more alive. I found my voice. And now, I want you to find yours too. You can talk in English so easy, you just need to start. Don't wait for the perfect time. The perfect time is now. Start with one word. Say it out loud, feel it. Then say another. Don't be afraid. Your mouth will learn, your brain will learn. You will learn. Talking is not about knowing everything. It's about expressing yourself with what you know. Even if you know 10 words, use them. Talk with them. Build with them. Those small words will grow. Soon, you will have more. I promise, it will happen. Just like a baby learns to speak by trying, you will learn the same way. Step by step, word by word. Every time you speak, you plant a seed. And soon, those seeds will grow into a big, beautiful garden of English. You will speak with confidence and joy. You will smile when you talk. You will feel proud. You will feel free. That's the magic of English. It gives you a new voice. So, my dear friend, start today. Talk to yourself. Talk to your mirror. Talk to the sky. Just talk. Don't wait for perfect grammar. Don't wait for perfect words. Just open your mouth and speak. You can talk in English so easy, you just need to begin. After I started talking in English every day, something amazing happened. My fear started to disappear. I did not feel shy anymore. My heart felt light when I spoke. I made mistakes, but I smiled. I told myself, "It's okay, Ariel. Mistakes help you learn." Every time I said a wrong word, I learned a new one. Every time I forgot something, I found a better way to say it. Slowly, my English started to sound natural. I could say what I wanted. I could share my thoughts. I could tell stories. Talking became my favorite way to learn. I remember walking home one day and talking to myself. I said, "Today, I will eat rice. Then, I will watch a movie." It was a small talk, but it helped me think in English. Every little talk made me better. I didn't care if people looked at me. I knew I was growing, and that made me proud. One evening, I went to a small park near my house. There were kids playing and people walking. I sat on a bench and listened to the sounds around me. I heard people talking in my language, and I thought, I wish I could hear English everywhere. Then I smiled and decided to make that happen. I took my phone and played a short English story. I listened with my earphones and repeated the words. I whispered them softly. The air was cool. The sun was orange. It felt peaceful. I was learning while sitting in the park. That's when I realized English can be learned anywhere. You don't need a classroom. You don't need books all the time. You can learn just by living your day in English. When I walked, I named things around me in English. I said, tree, car, road, sky, bird. These small words made my world English. My mind started to live in English. Talking became so easy because English was everywhere with me. I remember once, my neighbor saw me talking to myself and asked, "Are you okay, Ariel?" I laughed and said, "Yes, I'm just talking in English easily." She smiled and said, "You are improving every day." Her words made me happy. It showed me that practice really works. The more you use English, the more it becomes part of you. I learned that talking to yourself is not silly, it's smart. It trains your mouth, your ears, and your brain at the same time. When you talk to yourself, you are never afraid of mistakes. You are free. You can try anything. You can say words again and again until they feel natural. That's how I learned to say sentences easily. I didn't worry about grammar or big words. I focused on speaking simple English that felt real. I said things like, "I like this, that's good, let's go, I don't know." These small sentences helped me sound natural. Step by step, my speaking became smooth. I started to talk with my friends in English too. At first, they laughed a little because we all made mistakes. But soon, we started enjoying it. We had fun talking in English. We played small games like describe this thing in English, or say 5 English words in 10 seconds. We laughed, we forgot words, we helped each other. Learning became like playing. I realized English is not just about words. It's about feelings. When you speak, you are sharing your feelings. That's why it's important to relax. Don't worry too much, just express what's in your heart. Even if your sentence is not perfect, people will understand you. They will feel your meaning. One time, I talked to a tourist who visited my city. He asked, "Where is the bus stop?" I smiled and said, "Go straight and turn left." He said, "Thank you," and I felt so happy. It was a short talk, but it showed me that I could really help someone with English. My small English helped someone else. That was a big moment for me. It made me want to speak more. I wanted to talk every day, with everyone. So I did. I talked to my friends, to my family, even to strangers when I could. I started small, but slowly I grew. I began to tell stories in English. I talked about my day, about my dreams, about my future. Talking gave me confidence. I no longer felt afraid to make mistakes. I learned to laugh at them. I remember one funny moment. I wanted to say, "I am full" after eating, but I said, "I am full Atalok." Everyone laughed, and I laughed too. It was a funny mistake, and I never forgot the right word after that. That's how mistakes teach us. They make us remember better. So now, when I make a mistake, I smile and move on. I don't stop. You should do the same. Never stop talking just because of a small mistake. Keep your voice alive. Keep your words flowing. Talking is like water. If it stops, it becomes still. But if it keeps moving, it stays fresh. So, keep your English flowing. Talk every day, even for 5 minutes. Talk while cooking, walking, or brushing your teeth. Just talk. Say what you see. Say what you feel. Talk about your plans. Talk about your food. Talk about your dreams. The more you talk, the easier it becomes. I promise you that. One day, you will look back and say, "Wow, I can talk in English so easily," and you will feel proud, because you earned it. You built it with small steps and big heart. Talking is not just learning, it's living. So live in English. Speak with love, speak with joy, speak with courage. That's how you talk in English so easy. As days passed, I started to notice more changes in myself. My English words came faster now. I didn't need to think too much. When I saw something, the English word just came to my mind. When I wanted to say something, the sentence came by itself. It felt like magic, but it was not magic. It was practice. I had trained my brain to think in English. Every day, I gave it a little English food. Songs, stories, small talks, and short videos, all of these became my daily food for learning. My favorite time was at night. Before sleeping, I would whisper English sentences to myself. I said, "Today was a good day," or "Tomorrow will be even better." These simple lines made me calm. They also made me remember English in a natural way. I think that is the secret. If you want to talk easily, make English part of your life. Don't study it only from books. Live it, feel it, hear it, and speak it. English is not just grammar and rules, it's a living language. It breathes with you, it grows with you. I started to enjoy even my mistakes, because they showed me I was learning something new. When I could not remember a word, I tried to describe it. If I forgot the word rain, I said, "Water from the sky." That helped me keep talking. I didn't stop. I learned that talking is not about knowing every word. It's about using the words you know to keep going. When you talk, people don't want you to be perfect. They just want to understand you. So, don't worry if you can't say something perfectly. Just say it your way. That's how you learn. I remember one day my friend asked me, "Ariel, how do you talk so easily in English?" I smiled and said, "Because I talk every day." She laughed and said, "That's your secret?" I said, "Yes, that's it." The secret is no secret, just keep talking. She looked surprised, but it's true. If you talk every day, your fear will go away. Your mouth will learn to move in English. Your brain will start thinking faster. Your voice will get used to the sound. Everything becomes easier with practice. The more you talk, the more your words flow like a river. I also started using English in small things. I changed my phone language to English. I watched cartoons and short videos without subtitles. I read signs in English when I walked outside. These small things made a big difference. I didn't even feel like I was studying. I was just living with English around me. And the more English I heard, the more I wanted to speak. One morning, I woke up and decided to spend the whole day in English. I said to myself, "Let's do it." I spoke English to myself when I brushed my teeth. I said, "Good morning, Ariel. Time to brush your teeth." I laughed, but I kept going. Then I made breakfast and said, "I'm making eggs." I'm hungry. I talked to myself all day. It was fun. At the end of the day, I felt proud. I had spent one full day talking in English. My confidence grew so much. That day, I learned something very important. English becomes easy when you stop waiting for perfect moments. You don't need to wait for someone to talk to. You can practice anytime, anywhere, even alone. I used to walk to school and repeat what I heard in English videos. I copied the voices, the sounds, the way people spoke. I didn't understand everything at first, but I loved the sound. I wanted my English to sound like that. So I listened and repeated. That's how I improved my speaking. I learned that talking in English is not only about words, it's about rhythm, sound, and feeling. When you copy the rhythm of real English, you sound natural. You don't need to worry about every small mistake. Just focus on the flow. English has its own music. Once you feel it, you can speak it easily. I also started to record myself. I recorded small talks every night. I said things like, "My day was nice. I met my friend. We had fun." Then I listened to my voice. At first, I didn't like how I sounded. My voice felt strange to me. But after some time, I started to enjoy listening. I noticed small changes. I was improving. I sounded more confident. My words were clearer. My sentences were smoother. That small habit helped me a lot. When you record yourself, you can hear your mistakes. You can also see your progress. It makes you feel proud. You can say, "Look, I'm getting better." That feeling gives you power to keep going. One evening, I listened to my first recording again after 1 month. I couldn't believe the difference. I sounded so much better. I smiled and said, "Yes, it works." I learned something that night. Practice never fails. When you give time to English, English gives you confidence. It gives you courage. It gives you a new voice. I started to dream in English too. That was a strange and funny moment. I remember one dream where I was talking to someone in English. When I woke up, I laughed. My brain was learning even in my sleep. That's when I knew English was no longer just a subject. It had become a part of me. And that is what I want for you too. I want you to feel English in your heart, not just learn it from your head. Talk with love. Talk with joy. Don't be afraid. Even if your English is small, use it. Your words have power. Your voice matters. When you speak, you grow. You get better every time you open your mouth. So never stop. You can talk in English so easy. Just like me, one day you will realize it's not hard at all. It's just practice, patience, and love for learning. Keep going, my friend. Every word you say brings you one step closer to fluency. And remember, English is not your enemy. It's your friend. Treat it kindly, and it will stay with you forever. After some time, I started to notice how fun English could be. It was no longer a boring subject for me. It was like a friend who stayed with me every day. I talked to it when I was happy, and I talked to it when I was sad. When I felt lonely, I opened my mouth and said something in English. It made me feel better. I began to see that English is not just words and grammar. It is a feeling, a sound, and a way to connect. I watched small videos on my phone every night. Sometimes they were funny. Sometimes they were about animals or travel. I listened carefully and repeated the words. I didn't understand every word, but I kept going. Slowly, my ears got used to the sound. I started catching new words without even trying. One night, I watched a video about a man who learned English by speaking with his mirror. He said he did it every day for 1 year. I smiled because I was doing the same thing. Talking to the mirror helped me a lot. When you speak to yourself in English, there is no fear. The mirror never laughs at you. It only listens. It helps you see your mouth move. It helps you hear your own voice. Every time I looked into the mirror, I saw a better version of myself. I said things like, "You are doing great," or "You can do this." These small words made me strong. They gave me hope. You can do the same. Talk to your mirror. Talk with love and courage. Talk with a smile. When you speak with a smile, your words become soft and beautiful. People like to listen to you more. I also learned to speak with my heart. I stopped trying to sound perfect. I started to speak from my feelings. When you speak from the heart, your English becomes real. People feel your meaning, even if your words are simple. I remember one time my teacher asked, "Ariel, what is your dream?" I said, "My dream is to talk to the world in English." The class went quiet for a second, then everyone clapped. That was the first time I said my dream out loud. It made me feel brave. From that day, I started to practice with more love and purpose. I wanted to share my thoughts, my stories, and my world through English. Every day, I spoke something new. I talked about my school, my family, my food, my plans. I didn't stop. I talked while walking, cooking, or cleaning. I spoke when nobody was listening. I made English my daily song. I learned that when you talk often, your mouth becomes strong and your mind becomes clear. Words start to come naturally. You don't have to push them. They just flow. I used to get stuck in the middle of sentences before. My mind would go blank. But now, it doesn't happen often. Even if I forget a word, I use another one. I don't freeze anymore. I keep talking. That's the trick. Never stop. Keep your flow. The more you speak, the more confident you feel. I also started to record small messages in English for myself. I said things like, "Hello, Ariel. How are you today?" and "Good job. Keep going." Listening to those messages made me smile. It felt like I was talking to my future self. My English voice became my motivation. One day, I played my old recordings from 3 months before. I could not believe how different I sounded. My voice was more clear now. My pronunciation was better. My sentences were longer. I felt proud. I said to myself, "Ariel, you are doing great. Keep talking." I realized that progress happens slowly, but it happens. You just need to keep going. You can't give up because one day you feel shy or tired. You have to speak through your fear. Every time you speak, you win a small battle. That's how you grow. I also joined a small online group. There were people from different countries. We met once a week to talk in English. At first, I was shy. I didn't know what to say, but everyone was kind. They made mistakes too. We laughed together. We learned together. Those talks helped me improve a lot. I realized that everyone is learning. Nobody starts perfect. Everyone begins with fear. But when we share that fear, it becomes smaller. So, if you ever get a chance to talk with others, don't say no. Join them. Talk freely. You will see how much you grow. Talking to real people is one of the best ways to learn. You learn new words. You learn real expressions. You learn how people use their tone and body when they speak. It makes your English come alive. After a few weeks, I was speaking more easily. I didn't need to think about grammar all the time. My words just came out. I could tell stories, ask questions, and even joke a little. That's when I understood something important. Grammar helps, but practice helps more. You can read all the grammar books in the world, but if you never open your mouth, your English will sleep. Talking wakes your English up. So, wake it up every day. Even 5 minutes of speaking is enough. I spoke while walking to the shop. I spoke while washing dishes. I spoke before sleeping. English became part of my every moment. It became part of me. I felt happy, strong, and free. Talking in English was no longer scary. It was joyful. It was my new habit, my new friend. It followed me everywhere, and I welcomed it with a smile. Sometimes people asked me, "Ariel, how did you start speaking English so well?" I always smiled and said, "I just kept talking." They thought I had some secret, but the real secret was simple. I talked every day, even when I didn't feel ready. I spoke small sentences, but I spoke with feeling. I didn't wait for the perfect moment. I created it. You see, the right moment never comes. You must make it. If you wait until you feel perfect, you will wait forever. I learned that it's okay to make mistakes. In fact, mistakes are proof that you are learning. Every time you make one, you learn something new. You learn what works and what doesn't. You learn how to fix it next time. So now, when I make a mistake, I don't feel bad. I smile and keep going. That's how I grow. I remember one day I was talking to an online friend from Japan. We were both learning English. I said, "Yesterday I go to the park." My friend smiled and said, "You mean went to the park?" I laughed and said, Yes, went." We both laughed again. It was funny, but it was also beautiful. I didn't feel shy. I felt connected. That's the magic of learning with others. You correct each other with kindness, and you move forward together. After that, I stopped caring about being perfect. I cared about being understood. I cared about enjoying the talk. English became my bridge to the world. I met people from India, Brazil, Egypt, and Korea. We shared stories about our cultures, foods, and dreams. It was amazing how one language could connect so many hearts. We all came from different places, but English made us feel close. That is when I truly fell in love with the language. It wasn't just grammar or vocabulary, it was emotion, it was connection, it was understanding. That's what makes English alive. When you see it that way, it becomes easy. It becomes part of you. Sometimes, when I walk outside, I describe things in English in my head. I say, the sky is blue. The air feels soft. The birds are singing. I don't do it because I have to. I do it because it feels nice. It keeps my English fresh. It keeps my thoughts moving in another rhythm. I think in two languages now. My language and English. It's a beautiful feeling. It makes me see the world in new colors. One evening, I was sitting near my window, watching the sunset. I spoke softly to myself in English. I said, "The sky is painting itself orange. The sun is saying goodbye." Those small lines made me smile. I realized that English had become my way of expressing beauty. It was no longer a task. It was my art. If you want to speak easily, find the beauty in English. Don't see it as hard work. See it as your friend, your tool to share your heart. Every word you speak is a small light. Even if you speak slowly, your light shines. Even if you forget words, your meaning stays. People can feel it. That is what matters most. I also learned that listening helps speaking. Every night, I listened to slow English stories. I didn't just listen for words. I listened for emotion, for tone, for rhythm. I closed my eyes and imagined the speakers' faces. I imagined how their mouths moved. Then I tried to copy them. I repeated after every line. It felt like singing. Slowly, my mouth started to move in the same way. My accent became clearer. My words became smoother. It was not magic. It was practice. I learned to enjoy repeating. It trained my tongue, my brain, and my ears together. I felt my confidence grow every week. Even when I was alone, I kept practicing. I used to talk to my shadow in the morning light. I said things like, "Good morning. How are you today?" It made me laugh, but it also made me confident. Every small talk built my courage. I found peace in these tiny moments of practice. They were my secret lessons. They taught me that progress comes quietly, not loudly. It doesn't shout. It grows inside you like a seed. You don't see it every day, but one morning you wake up and realize you can speak. You can express yourself. You can tell stories. You can connect with people. That is the most beautiful reward. Once, I helped a new student who was scared to speak. She said, "I know the words, but my mouth won't move." I told her, "Your mouth will move when you stop being afraid." Fear freezes your words, but love melts it. She smiled, and from that day, she started talking more. After 1 month, she was speaking better and happier. That moment made me proud. I realized that when you help others learn, you also grow yourself. Teaching is another way of talking. It strengthens your English even more. I began to help more people online. I shared what worked for me. I told them to talk to mirrors, to record voices, to think in English. Many said it helped them too. It felt good to know that my journey could light someone else's path. English became more than a language for me. It became a part of who I am. It became my way of sharing light. Now, whenever I talk in English, I don't worry about mistakes. I just speak. I speak to express, not to impress. I speak to share, not to show. And because of that, speaking feels so easy now. My English flows from my heart, not from my memory. That is why it never stops. If you do the same, your English will flow too. Talk with joy. Talk with courage. Talk with love. Every word you say brings you closer to fluency. And one day you will wake up and realize you are not learning English anymore. You are living it. One morning I woke up and realized something had changed inside me. I was not afraid to speak anymore. English was no longer something outside of me. It was inside me, living and breathing. It had become a part of my voice, my thoughts, my feelings. I felt free. I sat with my cup of tea and started talking softly to myself. I said, "Good morning, world. I am ready for today." My voice sounded calm and confident. That small moment made me smile. I remembered all the days when I used to struggle to say even one full sentence. I remembered how my heart used to beat fast when someone asked me something in English. Those days felt so far away now. I had walked a long way, step by step, word by word. My journey was not quick, but it was beautiful. I realized that learning English is not a race. It is a walk, a gentle, honest walk with yourself. Some days you walk fast, some days slow, but you keep moving. You don't stop. That is how you win. I learned that speaking easily is not about knowing every word. It is about feeling safe inside your own voice. Once you trust your voice, English starts to flow naturally. It becomes like breathing. You don't think about it. You just do it. I used to think that speaking well meant sounding perfect. Now I know that speaking well means sounding real. Real words, real feelings, real you. I stopped copying others and started being myself. I used my own tone, my own rhythm, my own heart. When you speak from your truth, people listen. They don't care about your grammar. They care about your energy. They feel your meaning. That is true communication. I remember one time I met a traveler who didn't speak my language. We spoke in English. It was simple, but it was enough. We laughed, shared stories, and understood each other. That moment showed me how powerful English can be. It connects hearts that would never meet otherwise. It builds bridges where there were walls. It opens doors that were once closed. When I came home that day, I wrote in my notebook, "English is my bridge to the world." And I meant it. Every word I speak takes me somewhere new. Every conversation teaches me something new. That's why I tell everyone, talk every day. Don't wait for a special time. Don't wait to be perfect. Just talk. Talk when you cook. Talk when you walk. Talk when you look in the mirror. Talk to your plants, your pets, your dreams. Every word you speak in English is like watering a small seed. One day, that seed will grow into a beautiful tree. You will stand under it with pride, knowing you grew it with your own voice. I also learned to be kind to myself. There were days when I made many mistakes, days when I forgot simple words, days when my tongue felt heavy. But I didn't give up. I said to myself, "It's okay, Ariel. You are learning." I treated myself like a friend, not an enemy. That kindness gave me strength. You must do the same. Be kind to yourself when you speak. Don't shout at yourself for mistakes. Smile at them. They are your teachers. Without mistakes, you cannot grow. Remember, even native speakers make mistakes. So, don't try to be perfect. Try to be brave. That's what makes your English shine. Over time, I noticed that my thoughts in English became faster. I didn't have to translate from my language anymore. My brain started to think directly in English. That was a big moment for me. It made everything easier. I could reply faster, understand better, and express more clearly. That's the secret goal of speaking practice, to think in English. And it happens only when you talk a lot. Reading helps, listening helps, but talking changes everything. Talking makes the words alive inside you. It gives them a heartbeat. It gives them power. One evening, I went for a walk under the stars. I spoke softly to the night sky in English. I said, "Thank you for everything. Thank you for this voice, this journey, this light." My heart felt warm. I realized that English had not only taught me a language, it had taught me patience, courage, and love. It taught me to believe in myself. It taught me that small steps can make big changes. I smiled at the stars and whispered, "I did it." Maybe you are on your own journey now. Maybe you still feel shy or afraid to speak. But listen to me carefully. You can do it too. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to start. Speak one word today, 2 words tomorrow, 5 words next week. Keep growing slowly. English will meet you where you are. It will grow with you. Don't compare yourself to others. Everyone walks their own path. Walk yours with peace. Talk with courage. Talk with joy. Talk with love.